Okay, just getting started here. Bear with us. Yeah, we're a few minutes late, but we're getting it going. So this is an Inner Sphere Coalition Week 1 match between the Sorenson Sabers and the European Redcoats. This is Division G, the bottom division, and I'm quite excited for this matchup. Just waking up a little bit here. So Sorenson Sabers is a team I'm quite familiar with. I played with them back in Trials of Combat this past summer, and I did some comp queue with them as well, jumping between a few different teams there. So I'll run through there quick. G.I. Jimmy's the leader. He's been recruiting heavily. There's a bunch of players that I don't necessarily know or have played with, and they are training to try and improve their play as a team, their play as individuals. They let me cast a couple of their scrims a few weeks back just to warm up for ISC, so I know they've been scrimming. And European Redcoats I'm not as familiar with. They're presumably based out of Europe. We'll see with the pings. But given the match time, pretty confident on them being European and the name. Other than that, I really don't know anything about them. So I'm looking forward to finding out here exactly how these teams are going to play out. I know a little bit of what the Sabers are doing because I've seen their scrims, but I also know that they're adjusting it based off of their feedback. So what I saw in the scrims isn't necessarily what they're going to be doing here today. And as for European Druids, I really have no idea what they're going to do, so that'll be quite something to learn. So just a quick rundown on the format. This is Inner Sphere Coalition. It's a 5-drop match, 6v6, Inner Sphere mechs only. Teams are allowed 1 hero mech per drop and 3 chassis over the total of the match. So if they use 3 fire starters in the first drop, they are out of fire starters. They may not use any fire starters in any of the following drops. There's a tonnage limit on each drop. The first drop is 250 tons. The second drop is 360. The same with the third drop. And then the fourth and fifth are, I believe it is 420 tons or somewhere around there. You know what? It is a heavier drop, and you start to see assault mechs show up in the later drops. In the early drops, I'm expecting a lot of lights. I'm expecting to be very brawly due to the tonnage and the player count. But by the time you get to the later drops, you start to see more range typically, just on account of the mechs being heavier and slower. Did I go over the 3 caps? So there's 5 caps on the map, but teams are only allowed to take 3 of them. If they take caps outside those 3s, then some special conditions come in place. I'm not going to run through it. A little bit complicated. You can read the rulebook if you want to learn about it. It's unlikely we'll see that type of situation arise here. So there's 3 caps on the map that are allowed to be capped. The first drop, not likely we're going to see caps be overly relevant, but as the tonnage moves up, mechs get slower, then the caps and controlling them becomes a much more important aspect of the game. Basically, the caps just exist to encourage teams to fight each other. It gives them that threat of losing out on effectively time if they don't make a move to engage the enemy. And so we're not likely to see a win where the caps ticking up to 750 is the actual win, but I have seen games where the caps very much forced a team to make an unfavorable push, or they were going to lose on caps. Like that situation, it definitely happens in the later drops. Drop 1, I think it's just going to be straight brawl, so I'm not expecting much out of that. The first map we are doing today is Vitric Station, and it's a newer map for a lot of us who've been playing for a long time. The map's actually been out for like 7 months or 8 months at this point, but I kind of like it. It's recently got some adjustments to address some of the issues with it, and this is Trials of Combat use it as a competitive map, but for some players this will be their first time playing on the quote-unquote new map. Teams are almost ready here, so I'm not going to go through a drop strat for this particular map. I mean, run at each other and start shooting. That's basically what it is. And we have the second team locking in at only 230 tons out of the potential cap at 250. So they are dropping 15 tons light, which probably means a little bit more speed. Tonnage is a pretty big advantage, particularly on these later drops. So I'm a little curious as to that, if they have something special planned for us. Okay, both teams coming in here. So looking at the European Redcoats on the Team 2 side here, they've got 2 Javelins, those are machine gun variants, 1 Wolfhound Grinner, that is a hero. A little bit of an interesting pick. It's got ECM, but ECM isn't a big advantage in the brawl. They've got 1 Crab, so I want to check the build on that. And then a Phoenix Hawk 1K, that's probably going to be small pulse. It's got lots of energy hard points. Yeah, 6 medium pulse on the Crab. And then a Blackjack. Blackjack, I'm guessing ER Meads. No, Mead pulse, medium lasers. Okay. So I'm just going to grab the Wolfhound build here as well, because that is a little bit of an unconventional pick. Okay, so 5 medium pulse. That's standard build on that. Sorenson Sabers, we're seeing, again, 2 of those machine gun Javelins. They have a Firestarter that's going to be small pulse. A pair of Phoenix Hawks, also going to be small pulse. And then the Crusader. Crusader, he's positioning further back, so I'm guessing... No, just small pulse. Okay, I thought maybe it'd be Stumnos PPC on there. Or, sorry, just straight small lasers, no pulse lasers at all. So you can put heavier firepower on the Crusader, but either way, the Crusader is a wrecking house. So early game here, we have some UAVs up. It is a 2-cap advantage for the European. Oh, here they are brawling. We have a full-on engagement, multiple different targets being selected here. But half of the European Redcoats are still on the other side of the ramp. They are not in this fight. Couple mechs are dropping down, almost uncertainly, accidentally. So it comes down to focus fire here, and so far we have a 64% Phoenix Hawk in the basement. I'm guessing he's lagged, but the Crusader is getting jumped. He's about to go down if the Swords and Sabers do not... No, he is down. Very hard to keep your legs alive when the brawl is happening like this. So far, this is looking in favor of... Well, it's very close for both teams. This is going to come down to focus fire. The Javelin here is legged, but he is still up. Should be taken out of the fight if somebody has a spare second. Now it's fallen. So half the mechs are in the basement, half them are up top. Very, very close. Looks like another Phoenix Hawk is legged here from Swords and Sabers. Carleith is doing serious damage here in that Javelin. You've got multiple small fights here, but it's going the way of the European Redcoats, even though it looked like the initial start of that engagement would have been in Sorensen's favor. So we're down to the last 2 mechs here. Carleith is lagged. Muzz is lagged as well, so it's not over. A comeback is possible here, but the Sabers need to get some quick kills on the board. Yeah, so the Crab is still fresh, and G.I. Jimmy's the only one left with legs for the Sabers. Now, I would recommend that he starts taking mechs off the board as opposed to legging at this point. It'd probably best to even just bail out of the fight entirely to try and force the Crab to engage him solo. But there are caps in favor of the European Redcoats, so I understand maybe that's not something that he's looking to do here. Jimmy's open leg, and now he's legged. So even at 76%, because of the focus on the legs, mechs are going down at a higher percentage than what you sometimes see in a trading fight. So fairly close fight, but it does go the way of the European Redcoats. The Crab still has both legs, but it was close otherwise. grab the team damage here. Looks relatively low overall, as you expect from a light drop. A couple players double D'd, which you typically see on a brawl like this, where one target gets picked off early. Damage spread fairly even. So GI Jimmy's got 300 damage with 3 kills for the Sabers. And then on the other side, we've got Grimloon and the Crab with 3 kills and 200 damage. Now, Carlith, he's got 2 kills and 388 damage. I thought he'd have the highest damage on his team just based off of what I was seeing with that early dive. But the other Javelin as well has 300 to go with that. So very well done on the Javelin pilots overall. Low damage to be expected on this drop. Just trying to pull up the lobby stats here, see if this works. Okay, yeah, it did. So I don't know if you can read that on the stream. It's a little bit small, but it shows a little bit on the team damage side. If people are interested in things, we've got a 39 out of the Wolfhound on a brawl like this. 30 from Clave's Phoenix Hawk. You typically expect to see team damage on a light brawl, or any brawl often. Okay, now we're going to be moving on to our second map here shortly. So I'm going to pop up a strat for that. Just give me 1 second. So we're going to Frozen City. It's Frozen City Conquest. Now, one thing I'm going to note right off the hop here is it's 3 caps. So Sigma, come on, there's got to be a nicer, can we get a nice box over the Sigma and Gamma do not exist. You can basically forget about those. Yeah, so the teams are playing over Kappa, Theta, Epsilon as their 3 cap. And out of those 3, Kappa is kind of outside the combat zone, so you typically don't see that being overly contested. Theta is very difficult to grab for both teams. It's pretty important to deny it using ranged mechs if possible. And then Epsilon, it's pretty easy to take for Team 1, but it's possible that Team 2 can push into that and pick off whoever's going for it. I think this map is, with this 3 cap format, I believe it's favored for Team 1. But what we see is that each team is going to have a chance to play as Team 1 on this map. So, yeah, so so far I've seen Team 1 win 100% of the games I've spectated, which is 1 game total. But, I don't know if that's going to continue as a trend or not. So typically you see a setup of the Team 1 blue team where they put a couple traders in a position. They can also brawl on this one, but if they use traders, they'll typically set up in these blue circles not far from their spawn. And for red team, where their trade positions are further up, and they're not quite as easily taken or easy to deny Theta from. So I believe that Team 1 has a ranged trading advantage. So for Team 2, we're more looking at a push route, and that would typically be coming up through the Fox line. They can potentially go for Epsilon as well, and then they'll end up pushing into the range positions of Team 1 if Team 1 elects to play range. Now, Team 1 can absolutely brawl, and we could see that where they rotate instead across the map going for the Team 2 range positions through the dropship and so on. So I expect range from Team 1 and brawl from Team 2, but it could go a different way. Both teams could brawl, both teams could play range. There are options on this map at this tonnage, and it's actually a fairly decent map overall, in my opinion. It's just that having these 3 caps, the specific 3 caps that are chosen, and the superior, easier accessible range trading positions from Team 1, I expect Team 1's a little bit favored and probably going to take advantage of that with range trading. Looks like Team 1 is locked in at 360 tons. European Redcoats, they are swapping players in and out of the lobby. Maybe they're redoing some mechs. I'm not really sure what's going on here, so we'll have a few minutes yet. So I'm going to take a little break here. I'll save some of my voice. I need a co-caster for these things, so just just to preserve the voice a little bit so that I can do more casts a day kind of idea. But doing a solo cast here today. Okay, European Redcoats is coming to the lobby. I'm going to drop the map strats because I really don't want to do a radio cast and I might forget it later. Alright, yeah, so okay, it looks like maybe they had a bit of an attendance issue, so they're having to rejuggle their drop decks, who's playing which mech. Okay, European Redcoats, they haven't locked in yet, but they've got 355 tons currently taken. So that'd only be 5 tons light. That's not a very big deal on particularly on these heavier drops or the lower percentage of your drop deck. Sometimes there's a stronger variant or a stronger chassis than that is lighter than a heavier chassis. 5 tons is not a big deal. Sounds like these two teams are familiar with each other, probably play together in groups or something. Okay, we have a lock-in from Team 2. So things are going to be kicking off here any second now. Okay, looking here at the Sorenson Sabers expected drop zone. There we go. So we have Mech Double D. So that is going to be a pair of them. So it's probably going to be AC2s. Might be UAC2s. Quad UAC2. Okay, and they're bringing one Phoenix Hawk, one Javelin for their cap control. Grasshopper 5H, probably ER large, and a Stalker 3F. I'm guessing also ER large. Just gonna run through the builds quick. Yep, 4 Ultra 2, ER large. Okay, so they're definitely playing range. They brought a lot of DPS in their Yager mechs to try and stop any potential push, and they are going to be facing a push. So Clave in the Javelin here, he needs to spot this push coming so that they can start reacting. Now these are catapults. Those are going to be SRM6 and dervishes. So 5 SRM6, okay, 5. So they're running one less than the max. A little bit interesting choice. Maybe they're taking a bit more speed there. And the Dervish, yeah, it's an SRM build. Bit of a mix of SRMs and small lasers. And we have a Centurion. Centurion's going to be probably LBX5, 2 LBX5s. Okay, he's got medium lasers and rockets backing it up. So probably a little bit slower on that, maybe a little bit less ammo, find out. Bushwhacker 1X. Bushwhacker is 1 Snubnose, 3 SRM6, and 4 heavy machine guns. So they're definitely brawling, and the Sabers they're backing up here fast, but that is first mech down. European Redcoats got in unpunished, and that is going to be a major problem for the Sabers here. I'm not sure if they didn't spot her, if they just didn't react in time. Master Baggin's about to go down here with, he's legged already. And, I mean, Grasshopper Stalker, they're trying to use some cover here, but that's not going to help when the brawl comes for them. So the Sorenson Sabers got kind of caught out unaware. They didn't get their initial scouting information, so they could start backing up. Trout here, oh wow, goes down to back shot. Oh, it was lagged. Okay, thought it was maybe a back shot there. So this is going to go in the way of European Redcoats. There's only one mech down on their side. Their percentages are looking fairly healthy, and that Grasshopper is going to be heat capped. Clave's legged and dead. Lord Arbiter's catapult is open both legs and a side torso, and I'm guessing that's an XL build. But Magnetron is not going to be able to pick up that kill yet. And this is decisively in the favor of the European Redcoats. The Sorenson Sabers picked up 2 caps, but they didn't get the scouting intel that they needed. And because of the possibility of a brawl in this drop, I think that the scouting information is to some extent more important than getting an early cap. You definitely, if you're going for Theta, you need to try and sneak that early. So I understand, just rushing that, but you need to keep your eyes out. And from Theta, you really can't see the incoming brawl generally. Now with the path that the European Redcoats took, Theta would have been able to scout that, but there are lines that give some degree of cover on this map while approaching for the brawl. So I think a little bit more emphasis on scouting early would be of benefit to teams playing the Team 1 side on this map. So for anyone who hasn't played yet, that's an adjustment maybe to consider for your own drops. Just waiting for the caps. There it is. Yeah, decisive victory from the European Redcoats, who are now up 2-0 in this series. Okay, just running through the damage here. G.I. Jimmy's got the double D. He just got jumped right at the start there. Didn't see it coming. Damage numbers otherwise for the rest of the Sabers, lower but relatively fair. You probably can tell exactly who died in what order, except for the Stalker, which was probably heat capped. Picked up their lone kill. From the European Redcoat side, the Bushwhackers got the top damage with 504 kills. Wow, nice. Even damage, lots of 4s and 5s or 3s. So yeah, good damage spread. They managed to get in there and basically jump the Sabers before they were ready. trying to pull up the lobby stats again. So basically what you'd expect to see, low number of components destroyed on the team that frankly got completely blasted. Team damage a little bit high on the Bushwhacker. Maybe they use a strike, 90 some team damage, and some other numbers from the Brawler team that are, just over 10. But on Brawl like that, you get team damage. That's kind of how things work. And they came out with a clean win there. So we're doing the same map, same tonnage, same caps, but the teams are switching sides. So now the Sorenson Sabers get the Team 2 side, and the European Redcoats get the Team 1 side. Gonna pop the map strap back up while the teams are re-readying. Probably swapping some players or swapping some mechs. So the brawl push that Team 2 took was different than one that I was expecting. There are a couple different brawl paths. The low ground push, I've seen that before. It feels like you're in the open, but in actuality, the team is still in cover under that ridge line. If the team one side is not scouting for that push, it can go undetected. And it just managed to get up into the Sabers before they were able to see it. So if you see that push coming, what you want to do is you want to potentially rotate a couple mechs across if you have some faster mediums and lights, just extend the distance between the different mechs that need to push, and then you start backing up your slower boys into back toward the spawns effectively, and just kind of extend the length of the push that Team 2 has to make on the map. And the mech that goes for the Epsilon cap, if you just straight line it from Alpha or from Bravo, there's a ridge line that you can't really see across from the Epsilon cap. Even if you're looking, there's buildings or ridges in the way. And with the team going low ground, you absolutely can't see that coming. Now the Theta mech, you want to get in, you want to get out, and as you're going in, getting out, you're not necessarily looking toward where the push is coming from. And the push actually has some cover from Theta scouting it until it gets quite close as well. So it's a bit of a hard... pushing is definitely an option on that map, whereas on some maps they're very range favored and you just completely do not expect pushes to be successful. Frozen City is a map that definitely is pushable. Alright, looks like Team 1 is locked, the European Redcoats. So they have 350 tons. They are 10 tons light on this one. Might indicate another push. But at 360 tons, I wouldn't necessarily take being under tonnage an indication that they are going to push. Now I'm going to note that European Redcoats, if I'm tracking it correctly, which I don't have a sheet open for it, but I think that they still have all three of their Crusaders left, so they could use the Crusaders on this type of a tonnage drop. They used up their catapults, but the Crusaders are still available. And quite frankly, I don't know why you'd use catapults unless you're planning to use Crusaders later on. You know, a little bit of foreshadowing here potentially. And we have a lock from Swords and Sabers. And we'll find out where those Crusaders are. Alright, just waiting for the teams to arrive. And there we go. So Swords and Sabers are bringing 2 Chargers, 2 Crusaders, and 2 Firestarters. Seen that drop deck before. And here are the Crusaders from European Redcoats. 3 Crusaders, a Dragon, Thunderbolt, and another machine gun Javelin. That'll be their last Javelin for the match. So I'm just going to pull up some builds here quick before the brawl starts, hopefully. Thunderbolt, medium pulse, 7 mead pulse. There's a quirk on that for that. Grand Dragon's got 4 mead pulse, 4 SRM, 2 SRM4. And then Crusaders, 14 small pulse, 14 small pulse. I'm going to assume the third one's 14 small pulse as well. Quick and grab some builds here from Sorenson and Sabers. Now, they are doing red lasers. I've seen this before from them. The mechs they've chosen, it's very clear. Small pulse fire starters, probably both of them. Yep. An AMS on there. And then Crusader, that is just small lasers. So they are outgunned on their Crusaders because of the build choices. Yeah, 14 small lasers. So they're going up against small pulses with small lasers. Now, that does give them some advantages, but in other ways it's a bit of a disadvantage. So we'll see that how that plays out. Chargers are just pure small lasers as well, but they have insane quirks for small lasers. Could do ER smalls as well, would keep the quirks. Now, European Redcoats have gone low ground. They're looking, I don't think they know where the Sabers are. Sabers are reacting. Trout's looking like he knows where they are. And the Sabers have a UAV up. I don't know if the UAV is going to be detecting the Redcoats or not. It's entirely possible, though. They have no idea. They're getting their Javelin up to look. And, okay, Muzz and his Javelin has seen Trout in his Firestar. So they have a very good idea. There's a light up there, but they don't know what kind of mechs they're facing or where they are. Now they're going to get, okay, yeah, they've definitely spotted them now. This is going to be a full-on brawl right shortly here, and it's all going to come down to focus fire. Dragon's the first one in. Jimmy's the focus target. He's already legged, and who are the Sabers shooting here? Okay, Dragon's legged as well. Jimmy's down. Dragon's about to go down from Boom Eagle, and kills are even so far. But this is just pure chaotic brawl. We'll see who comes out ahead. It's focus fire is going to be very, very important. Looks like Mr. Baggins, yeah, legged and gone. Hank Reardon's Charger's legged as well. Focus fire is better from European Redcoats, and they're putting that into a kill advantage rapidly here. They have a little bit more burst damage as well with their choice of build on the Crusaders. And we have another legged mech here. Trout's looking to pick up another kill. He does not get it. Muzz's Javelin does survive. He's got an open orange leg there. So, decisive victory for the European Redcoats. Both teams just choosing to brawl it out in the open. And focus fire just pulls out ahead for one side. So that's three drop wins now for European Redcoats. We'll see if the Swords and Sabers can pull it back. They've got some wounded mechs left on the table here with the European Redcoats, and we're moving on to more ranged trading drops moving forward, just based off of the tonnage going up and also which mechs are left. So we'll see how it plays out when the teams start doing a little bit different strats, probably. Again, damages are fairly low for both teams. They're shooting legs, and with some good aim there, not spreading damage all over the torsos, it doesn't take as much damage to kill a mech. So Thunderbolt 5S out of Epic Ace, he's picking up 2 kills with 366 damage to lead his team. And G.I. Jimmy was the first target jumped, so he's got the low damage here. But the Crusaders on the European Redcoats have significantly higher damage than the Crusaders on Sorenson Sabers, and that might be, to an extent, a build difference. Hank Reardon's got the top damage from the Sorenson Sabers. He's got the 1 kill, and it looks like the second death on European Redcoats would have been from heat. Well, it looks like lobby stats isn't working, so I'll pull it off the screen here. But a little bit of team damage coming out of Muzz and his Javelin. I don't know if he threw Strike. He's got 59 team damage. It's a brawl, so you're seeing higher team damage from both teams, but it's a brawl, so that's completely acceptable. Alright, teams are getting their players together again for the next drop. We're going to River City for the last 2 drops. Pull up the map strat. Okay, so again, same as on Frozen City, teams are going to be switching sides after the first drop. So the first drop here, we're going to have Team 1 being European Redcoats. They get the airport side versus Sorenson Sabers. Team 2, they get High City. Now, are they going to play range or not? I don't know. But if the Sorenson Sabers do elect to play range, there's a pretty good range trading spots for Team 2 in the High City near Epsilon Cap. Now, Team 1 actually has what is often considered better range trading spots from the airport, but the problem is that Gamma Cap is not available for teams in this 3 cap format. So whether or not you want to trade from airport, you don't have that guaranteed Gamma Cap easy cap control. So you might see more of a push from Team 1 or trading from more of the Citadel or like a lower city type position. But Theta's the key to this whole thing, and both teams need to get Overwatch positions on Theta so they can deny it from their opponents or try to sneak it for themselves, or we could see some more brawling. The teams have shown that they like brawling. They might just continue with that. But with the higher tonnage, I'm anticipating at least one, potentially both teams are going to try to trade. If Team 1 goes for a push, they can push either through the water, which I would advise against, or they can push behind the ship, past Sigma Cap. Again, Sigma Cap doesn't exist, just keep that in mind, and push up into High City that way. You could do a push from airport, but that would be, I would consider that to be a little bit less popular, pushing through Theta Park and then up to High City. From Team 2, it's absolutely possible to just push airport, and you can go across the bridge, or you can go beside the bridge at lower ground, a little bit less exposed, and just come up into airport to pick off the range mechs up there. Now, with Team 1 probably not taking the airport for range trading, Team 2 has less of a clear push target. There are, of course, other push angles that can be used with the Alpha Bravo spot going an alternative push direction into the airport. Again, this is a map where you can play range or you can push. With the higher tonnage, I'm expecting more range. Looks like teams they're not readied up yet, but they have their 420 tons set, so they're probably going to ready right shortly. So I'll get that map strat off the screen and prevent myself from doing a radio cast. Alright, just waiting for the Sabers to lock in. I don't think it'll take very long. They've already got their mechs selected here. Probably just some final instructions as to who's going where and doing what. With the European Redcoats having won the first 3 drops, they do have the match win, but the Sorenson Sabers have the final 2 drops to try and show that they can pull off a drop win against the European Redcoats, and then also, like, they don't get any points for it, but it's a point of pride. And I don't recall exactly how the rewards work for ISC. In the past, it was MC for the number of drops won, so they might be playing for MC here, even if they are not playing for a match win. Okay, here we go. Teams are coming in. European Redcoats are putting a couple assaults up in the airport, so these are probably going to be ranged traders. We've got, oh, Heavy Goss. Okay, wow. And then MRM, so no, they are pushing. So the slow assaults in the airport, they're going to have to make a lengthy move to get to the fight. Panther's going to be light PPC. I might be able to check that build later. Stalker 4N and 3FB. 3FB is an ECM variant. Or am I mistaken on that? MRMs and medium lasers, and then large lasers out of the Stalker. So they have some range, but they're definitely looking to push with those MRMs. Sorenson Sabers, we have Shadowhawks, 2 Shadowhawk, 2 H's. Mixed build of mostly Brawl. And 2 Rack 2s, 2 SRM6. So that is also mid-range Brawly. The rest of their tonnage, they're taking it up to the high city. So I'm guessing more range here, but these look like ballistic. Yep, 4 AC5, AC2, LB2, ER peep. Interesting. And Marauders AC5, 2 AC5, 2 light PPC. These look a little bit.
Theta is controlled by the enemy.
There's probably some work to be done on adjusting these builds, but they are definitely playing a more mid-range DPS type builds. So they're going to be looking to receive this MRM push when it, which they definitely are getting the scouting intel on it here, as the European Redcoats are kind of just out in the open. Sir Epic Ace is leading the charge in a Stalker, and the ballistic fire from the Sorenson Sabers, they're still getting in position. Doesn't look like a push call has necessarily been made. Some mechs are going, some mechs are not.
Command confirming that we have
Sabers are
possession
still
of Kappa.
getting their assaults
Resource
up
point Theta
into
is
the high
ours.
city. They're not in position yet for this, to punish this push, but the push is, they're only taking Theta and then they're backing off. I mean, with this deck, they're definitely looking to push, so I'm not completely sure what they're looking to do here. So far, percentages haven't really changed. There's some damage coming out, but part of it's connecting it, part of it is not, and they're managing to get their assaults in onto the Theta cap and then back off of it. Light spread damage on the Stalkers. Stalkers can take a fair bit of damage, so nothing concerning yet. They are bleeding percentages, which is favoring Sorenson Sabers, but there's no significant damage landed. The Shadowhawks are moving up into the airport. We're backing off now. I guess they checked it and there's nothing up there. So both teams are relatively stationary. They're just waiting for the other team to make a move. Now, it is important to note that the caps are in favor of European Redcoats, so the Sabers will have to make a move, but it's minutes before they have to. Clave's in a bit of a flanking position here. I don't know if he's aware of the Panther's existence. Just going to check that build now. Yeah, 4 light PPC. A Phoenix Hawk 7S, I'm guessing that is small pulse, but I'm going to check it quick. Okay, medium pulse, 6 medium pulse on the Phoenix Hawk 7S. I believe that is the mask variant. Typically you'd see that as small pulse, but 6 medium pulse, it's also quite a reasonable build. Clave does not have team support with him here. He could get jumped by the Panther and the Phoenix Hawk, but they're backing off instead. Sabers are making a play here. G.I. Jimmy's going in for the cap with his Centurion. Now, that is a dangerous place for him to be, and they're going to know as soon as he steps on the cap, but I'm not sure if European Redcoats are in a position to punish him for doing this. He's on the cap now. They should know. They're moving the Stalker forward. Now, Jimmy, if he gets tapped with the damage, then the cap will stop. He's backed off. He's gone back on. The Sorenson Sabers do not have a light mech, so they're having to use the Centurion to try and grab the cap. He's not quite decapped it, and he's backing off now. But that is allowing the Sabers to punish the Moto Chi a little bit when he peeks to look for Jimmy. Moto Chi's down to 69%. That CT is orange. Orange armor, red structure. Took some rear damage, I suppose. So, can't do that very many more times, but the Sabers are going to have to bait out with Theta once more, as they haven't actually managed to flip it yet. Both teams are playing exceedingly cautious here. They're trying to prevent themselves from taking damage. European Redcoats are just content having the cap run in their favor. They don't really have Overwatch on it, but the Sabers are too concerned about it to risk throwing another slow-moving medium onto the cap. They will have to do that at some point here, but they've got some time. No rush. Clave's got an angle there firing into the flank, and Jimmy's working the other flank. So they're getting chip damage in, and the European Redcoats don't really have much to respond with at that range other than the large laser stalker. Most of their mechs with the MRMs, they'd be much more effective up close. And the Mauler, I'm not sure if he's just probably hasn't fired a shot yet, never got into range of the heavy Gauss. Clave's moving up. This is a little bit risky from him. He could get jumped by the Panther Firestarter combo if he's not exceedingly careful here. I smell danger for him. Clave's got to get out of here. He knows it now. He's running. Oh no. No, Clave. No. Run! Clave's doing a last stand here of sorts. If he can get a leg off of the Phoenix Hawk, that would be of great benefit to him. If he goes the wrong way, he's going to run into that heavy Gauss Mauler. Clave's leg is open in that Shadowhawk. Yeah, he's not getting out of this. How much damage do we have going into the Phoenix Hawk? Phoenix Hawk is open CT, so Clave has landed significant damage to it. But the Panther here as well. Oh, wow. Panther took a big hit there from the SRMs. Clave's down, but the Panther is heavily damaged, and the Phoenix Hawk is open CT. So, oh, wow. Jimmy's pushing solo? Wow. Okay. I'm not sure about this call. I'm a little bit surprised here that Jimmy's lagged, but he was taking down the Moto Chi CT, so next up is that Phoenix Hawk, but Jimmy's down. So that provided a distraction for the Sabers to get the Theta cab, but I don't think they have the advantage when it gets into a brawl here, so I don't really think you want to sacrifice a Centurion to close range. Jimmy did trade out, but still not sure on that. If that was a tactically sound decision. Wow, Marauder got a headshot there, but it still got structure left. And he got headshot a second time. His head is gone. Heavy Gauss took him out. Sabers are up in percentages, but down in mechs. Now this Mauler's about to go down. Gets one last Heavy Gauss shot off. I'm not sure who it hit. Phoenix Hawk is still alive, 52%. I know his CT was open earlier, so that should be a quick pickup here. Stalker's getting absolutely hammered with some racks. Yeah, Phoenix Hawk goes down, side torso destruction. So I'm questioning the decisions, but it is working out. The Sabers are going to pick up the win here as soon as that Stalker goes down. They'll be able to do this. Shadowhawk's 55% from Magnetron, but there's plenty of armor left on the Banshee and the Cyclops. Stalker's relatively healthy as well, open side torso, spreading the damage quite well, but ultimately it's a 3v1 situation. He does manage to take down the Shadowhawk, but in the end the Sabers do pick up their first win of the match. Slipnear's almost legged. I don't know if the leg would be the call that I'd make on that mech. And Banshee, most of the damage looks like it's from overheating. ER Peeps can run fairly hot, but it also has a fair bit of sustained DPS out of the AC2 LBX2 in that brawl situation. So Sabers pick up the win. Higher tonnage drop. The strats are a little bit different, and they managed to pull it off here. Just waiting for the caps to flip over. I mean, we already know the Sabers are winning. They have a 2-cap-to-1 situation, but the game, MWO has an issue figuring out the math sometimes in these private lobbies. Ammo count looks pretty healthy still in the Slipnear. Banshee's almost out of ammo, but they did bring enough ammo. Plus he's got the peeps, so no worries there. Okay, lobby stat tool didn't work last time, so we're just going to run through it. Banshee with 900 damage and 4 kills. I mean, no wonder why he's almost out of ammo. Cyclops got a 550. Jimmy played a sacrifice play there, picked up a kill, 347. Shadowhawk got a clave. I mean, he had really good fire on the flank angle, and then he just overextended a little bit. He's got 360 there. That's pretty impressive. The other Shadowhawk brings in 300 with the brawl build, Marauder with 200. Heavy Gauss Mauler, he wasn't in combat for a lengthy period of time. He still managed to pull up 480 damage, plus the 1 kill, which I believe was a headshot. Somebody got a headshot. I'm pretty sure it was the Mauler who pulled that off. Stalker 4N, the only real poke mech that the European Redcoats brought, picks up 2 kills, 500 damage. Lower damage from the rest of the team. They kept on taking a little bit of chip damage here and there, and eventually adds up. Alright, teams are again rotating some players and possibly changing up some builds. So teams are switching sides. I'm going to remember to switch the logos right now. Okay, we're going to pull up the map strat here quick. So neither of the teams did exactly what I was thinking they were going to do. We did see Team 2 take the high city location with a like range to mid-range DPS type builds, and then they had to send a Centurion to go for Theta because they didn't have any fast-moving lights or mediums like the Phoenix Hawk. And I mean, Panther's not exactly fast for a light, but it is a light. That Team 1 did bring a faster medium and a light. Team 2, they kind of just they had some mechs in airport, but they didn't really want to control it. They just had a push deck, even though they spawned in airport, and they took their other mechs from Bravo Charlie and just kind of hung out around the Citadel, overwatching Theta, and they didn't make the push, even though I think that their mechs would have done better close up, and ultimately just ended up taking a lot of chip damage, as they didn't really have the ability to trade back with it's like a single stalker trading with large lasers against multiple PPCs and AC2, RAC2 type things. I'm going to give a little shout out for Clave. He had that flank angle. Let's use that green color here. He had a flank angle from airport, and he was putting some. So we're going to talk here quick. Lines of fire. Clave had a line of fire. The upper airport had a line of fire, and then GI Jimmy went and he took an angle where he had a line of fire as well. So there wasn't any safe cover for the Team 2 side hiding out behind the Citadel, as Clave and Jimmy had the flank angles on them. So ultimately, Sabers decided to push. They were down on caps. They didn't have a mech to try and get caps. Plus, Clave, he did overextend and he got picked off. It doesn't have the speed to escape when he makes that deep of a push, but it did allow the Sabers to get the Theta cap between Jimmy and Clave's sacrifice. So ultimately, it worked. I would have liked to see a bit of an adjustment as to having using a faster mech for the flanking play, or having a faster mech to go for Theta cap, so that they aren't required to push, but the push worked out for them. So in the end, it's the win that matters. Now, teams are switching sides. Sabers are locked in at 415 tons, so they're 5 tons under. Again, higher tonnage drop, it's a lower percentage that you're missing. European Redcoats, they still only have 3 players in lobby, so I've got a little bit of time here. Hopefully I don't miss the start of this match while doing map strats. But so I haven't seen any range play from the European Redcoats yet, and they used up some of their stalkers. Stalkers is an easy range mech to play, so I'm thinking that they're probably just going to continue with the brawl. Now, on the Team 2 side, you have a more clear brawl path of going for the airport, but I don't know if Sabers are going to use the airport, so could also see more of a quick play style of the push through the Citadel into the low city, but I'm expecting a push here from European Redcoats. They might show me something different, but so far it looks like they're very willing to brawl. From Sabers, I don't know exactly what they're going to be doing here. They used up a lot of their Banshees and such, but they still have Stalkers. I don't know if that's a mech that the Sabers play a lot of. They might pull out a range ER large Stalker deck, or they might be looking for a push. If they do push, I'm guessing they're going to push for that through the water and then into the upper city. So we'll see what happens. I think that we're going to see a brawl fight here between both teams. And European Redcoats looks like they're about to lock in. So the Sorenson Sabers picked up their first win their last drop. So the match is now 3-1. So European Redcoats, they're still winning the match regardless of the outcome of the fifth drop here, but they are playing to try and prove that they can win a heavier drop. And here we have a lock, 410 tons versus 415. So Sabers are 5 under, European Redcoats are 10 under, but not a big percentage. That's perfectly fine. Okay, looking at builds here quick. European Redcoats, they're bringing the quick draws, 4 quick draws, including the hero, which is probably going to be MRMs. They have a charger. Oh, they've got 2 hero mechs on this drop, if I'm not mistaken. So they're only allowed 1. I'm not a ref. I'm not going to call it. It's up to the Sabers to decide on that. Banshee with mid-range DPS coming out of the Sabers. So they're using up their Banshees here. I mean, it's the last drop. That doesn't matter. AC2. The Mauler 1P. Now, what is the build on that? Okay, they're running it with AC2 light PPC, so they have a lot of range DPS again. Very similar to their last drop deck, just change up the mechs, and now they have a light mech, so they're going to be able to get Theta Cap with that light mech. So they've made a change here, a little bit more speed in their drop deck. So European Redcoats, this is probably going to be very much a push deck. We've got small pulse on the charger, small lasers on the other charger, Warhammers, stumbles PPCs. A little bit of an interesting pick there with the variant. Oh, the IV4 is SRM's LBX5s. Okay, so that is not what I was expecting on the hero there. Mead Pulse on the quick draws. So yeah, definitely they are pushing. This is a push deck. They're going to have to close range and brawl, and they're going to be facing off against that AC2 light PPC range DPS drop deck out of the Sabers. So they're electing to push around through the lower city to try out to get up to the airport. Sabers are hold up. So Sabers have cap advantage right now, but they do not have cap control from this location. But they are starting to rotate out of the airport already. They know what's coming. They're backing up. They've got the one Banshee covering the angle while the rest of the team is making a run for it. The Locust is in the back there. I'm not sure what the build is on him or if he's been spotted. Could be a harassing snub-nosed PPC or something. I'm just going to try to grab the build quick. Wow, clicked on him on my first try. He's got a light PPC, so he's taking damage, so they know he exists, but he's likely been harassing their backfield a little bit with that light PPC. Light PPC, not a lot of damage out of a single light PPC, but there's a cooldown quirk on that Locust, I do believe, and the damage will add up over time. So you can't just ignore it being in your back, and European Redcoats do not have anything fast to chase the Locust with, but the Locust has bailed out of there. Probably took his one shot and he decided to run. But the Sabers definitely know what's going on. They've evacuated the airport entirely. They have taken the high city location. Now, European Redcoats might not be aware of that, but now the push direction has to change for them. So the Sabers grabbed the Epsilon cap. They lost the Kappa cap. I believe they had that earlier, so they still have a 2 cap to 0 advantage right now. European Redcoats are arriving at the airport. They're finding that it is indeed empty. And the quick draws seem to have a pretty good idea. Yeah, they're seeing the PPCs and AC2s coming in on them. Those are probably light PPCs. They don't seem to be dealing very much damage. I don't remember if Sorenson Sabers had any of the ER PPCs or not, but that damage will add up over time eventually. Locust is playing up front. He's screening, scouting, but he isn't going to get very many flanking backshots from that location. The rest of the European Redcoats, they're just standing around here. They do not know what to do, and they've got a little bit of time to make a decision. They don't want to just take damage needlessly, but they're definitely there's a call made here. They're finding a better push angle. Percentages are still very healthy for European Redcoats, but they have to find a way in. And the cap is putting the pressure on them to make a move sometime in the next 2 or 3 minutes. They have to do something. Because they don't have any light mech, they can't really try to contest on caps. They do have to make a push at some point. Okay, they're going through the tunnel, so they're probably going to push across the bridge if they're going tunnel. The Locust has scouted. The Locust has scouted this, so he definitely knows what is up. We've got the Mohawk here on the Warhammer 6R. It was a reward mech a few months back. Oh no, one quick draw has gone out ahead alone. Alright, he is tanking the damage. He is serpentining across the open. Takes longer to cross, but maybe you dodge some more incoming fire. The Sabers are putting a real hurt here, but they have not picked off a leg yet, so the European Redcoats are making it in. First lead mech does make it in alive. How much longer, I'm not sure. That quick draw is heavily wounded. Probably a light engine, though. They don't look exceedingly fast. Hunchback's gone in up front to shield for the rest of the team. Now, they want to start backing up here, I think, the Sorenson Sabers. They are facing an angry Brawl team in Brawl range. They haven't picked up a kill yet. Charger's gone in alone here, leading the formation. The rest of the team is now following it up. Sabers do not have the range advantage, but they do have the health advantage, and that might be enough to carry this day. Boom Eagle's quick draw is moving as if he's legged. He's about to go down right shortly, I would expect. Hunchback is still up. Both legs are open, but he's got all his guns. Still haven't picked up a kill yet. A lot of wounded mechs. Somebody just needs to finish him off. Hunchback is legged. The kills come out nearly simultaneously. Again, the percentages are heavily in Sorenson Sabers' favor, so Charger's shielding his legs as best as he can. Jimmy's diving in for him. 27% quick draw. Somebody just sweep his legs already. Tolak is legged in his Banshee. Yeah, so they're shooting legs here. So these percentages, they might not be telling the full story. Kills are in favor of Sorenson Sabers. Percentages are very close. This could go either way. Finally, that quick draw goes down. He's been alive for a long time at 27%. Banshee's down. Rafu's come in with his Locust, 69%. But, you know, Locust, though, it's all about not getting hit. So he might be able to stay alive here. And yeah, this looks like it's going Sorenson Sabers' way. Their builds are not exceptionally hot with those AC2s. Hank Reardon's getting shot in the back. He needs to turn around. Yeah, his back is open, but he's otherwise relatively healthy. Clave is backing off a little bit, probably getting a new angle. Quick draw, 50%. He looks like he's lagged. Is that quick draw lagged? Yeah, he's down. So the Mauler for the Sabers, he's heavily wounded, but we're down to the last mech here. It's a Warhammer 6R, 20-some%. He's about to die. He's got both his legs still, though, but he is about to go down. And that is it. Sorenson Sabers pick up both wins on the higher tonnage River City drop. Playing a DPS-orientated receive deck, facing off against a dedicated brawl drop deck on this drop. So the European Redcoats, they take the match 3 wins to 2. The Sorenson Sabers, though, they showed that they know how to play a range receive deck against brawl, picking up 2 wins on the higher tonnage drops. Now, 700 damage from Hank Reardon in the Mauler, Clave in the Bolt, he's picking up 700 as well. Tolak's got 660 right behind him. G.I. Jimmy 550 in the Banshee. Rafu in the Locust, 2 kills and 400 damage. Very well done in the Locust. And Shy Archer, he went in and screened for the mech for the rest of the team, picked up 400 damage while doing it. Now, on the European Redcoat side, standout is a quick draw IV4 with nearly 600 damage and 1 of the kills. The rest of the team's a little bit lower damage. Not terrible damage, but when you're facing against Banshees and the such, it takes more than a little bit of damage to kill them. Well done, both teams. And that is it for the match. I will be coming to. I'm scheduled to do another cast. It was supposed to be Friday night, but turned out there's a scheduling mix-up, so it is a Saturday night game. If I still have some voice left for it, I will be doing another cast in what is that, 7.5 hours from now. So feel free to follow the channel, come back for that if you're interested. And I've actually got a match to play starting in an hour and a half. So that is it for me. I will not be streaming that match, unfortunately, but I will be casting another match later today. So alright, that is it. Well played for both Sorenson Sabers and the European Redcoats. There's some things to work on, and lower division teams, they're still learning. Often it's a player's first comp, and there's some adjustments that teams can make. But we saw some dedicated pushes, we saw some receive, so teams are mixing up, playing and learning some new strats. And overall, pretty good performance from both teams. I was a little bit worried there that things were going to go with a 5-0 match, but the Sabers come back, pull out a pair of wins to make it much more of a close finish in the final there. So that is all. Thanks for watching. I'm going to be cutting the stream here shortly, so hopefully the cast went a little bit more smoothly. I didn't have any camera issues this time, and hopefully I had the team logos on the correct side, because that was a problem last cast. So yes, thanks for watching. Thanks for the teams for letting me cast. And that's it. Be back in 7.5 hours.